Greetings, beloved. We are going to look at a topic that says, does God care about what we eat? Does God care about what we consume? Does God care about what we drink? Does He care? The answer is yes, He does. Because in 3 John chapter 1 verse 2, the Bible tells us that, Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth. So, God's will and God's desire is for you and me, beloved, that we may be in good health, that we may prosper, that we may be happy, that we may live an optimum health style and be happy in this world. That is God's desire. God is not willing that we should be suffering and we should live in pain and disease and affliction. That is not what God desires. That is the reason why God gave us the 8 laws of health: nutrition, exercise, water, temperance, rest, sunlight, air, and trust in God. So today we want to look at one of the 8 laws of health. We want to look at the most controversial one, which is nutrition. That is the most controversial topic to discuss, especially in the Adventist circles. So, we want to ask a question and say, someone makes the engine of a Mercedes-Benz, and he makes that engine of a Mercedes-Benz and says, this engine is going to work and is going to be powered by diesel. Who can come and argue and say, no, this can work better with petrol, so I want to put petrol in that machine? That means the machine will break, it won't work. So what are we trying to say? We are saying that, is it you and me who knows better how our bodies should perform? Or the one who made us is the one who should tell us how our bodies should perform better? So, what we are saying is, what we are driving at is, God is the one who made us. And the psalmist says, we have been wonderfully made. We have been fearfully and wonderfully made. Now, the one who made us is the one who knows better how our bodies can perform better and what can be put in this body for it to work better. So, who are we to argue on what should be put in this body for it to work better? Isn't it that we should ask the one who made us so that he can tell us how to feed this body so that it can perform better and work better? But many times we find ourselves arguing and bringing all sorts of excuses and bringing and pulling all sorts of points to try and justify our own way, our own cause, and rejecting the way that God is telling us to take care of this body. So God has authority to tell us what to eat and what not to eat, because He's the one who made us. He knows what's best for us. We are not in a position to argue with Him or to pull out all different sorts of excuses. He's the one who knows better. We can only do that at our own peril. Let's go back to the book of Genesis chapter 1 verse 29 and understand the diet which was given by the Maker Himself soon after creation. He did not leave man to choose what he sees fit to eat. God, because He cares for us, He told us what to eat. He has authority to do so. And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. If you look at this text, you'll find some words and some phrases that are striking there. The first one is, I have given you. That shows authority to say, He has not just left men to choose what He sees fit to eat, but God told men what to eat and what not to eat. That's why God is saying, I have given you. In the garden there were plenty of herbs, there were plenty of fruits, there were plenty of foods that could be eaten, that were edible. But God comes and says, and you can eat this and this and this and this, but not this, because he has the authority to do so. Adam could not come and argue with God. He had to obey what God said. And then God is saying, to you it shall be for meat. That means for you it shall be for food. Full stop. And after all these things, God said, behold, everything was good. That was the ideal diet that God gave to mankind. That is what you and me should eat for us to have optimum health, if we choose to obey what God says. So, what happened? How did we end up eating meat? How did we end up being where we are right now? Fast forward, we come to Genesis chapter 6. We find people have sinned. People have begun to go against God and to disobey God, and God was not pleased, and God decided that the whole world must be destroyed. And he asked Noah to build an ark and to preach for 120 years, so that those who would obey would be saved through the way of the ark, should enter into the ark. So now, the day came that God rained water from heaven, and some of the water came from underground, and the whole world was in a flood. And it brings us now to Genesis 7 verse 23. And every living substance was destroyed which was upon the face of the ground, both men and cattle and creeping things and the fowl of the heaven, and they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and that were with him. Only 8 souls were saved. Everything else in the world was destroyed. Only 8 human beings and the animals that were there in the ark. 7 clean animals and 2 unclean animals of each and every species, each and every type of animals which were unclean. 2 of them entered the ark. Of the ones which were clean, 7 of them entered the ark. So everything else outside the ark was destroyed. Trees were destroyed. Vegetation were destroyed. Fruits were destroyed. All grass, all animals, birds, fish, everything else was destroyed. There was no food for Noah and his family to eat after coming out of the ark. So, 9 verse 3 Genesis, and every moving thing that liveth shall be for meat to you. Now that God has realized that everything else has been destroyed, now God now comes again. Since he's a caring God, he does not just leave men to choose whatever they feel like doing. He comes back to Noah and he gives another instructions again, in the same manner that he gave Adam the instruction that we see in Genesis chapter 1 verse 29. God is now giving Noah instruction on what Noah could eat now, seeing that everything else has been destroyed. Now God is saying, every moving thing that liveth upon shall be meat for you, even as the green herb have I given you all things. Then verse 4, very, very interesting. But flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall you not eat. God is saying, you can now eat meat, but take care, do not eat blood of animals. So you have to make sure that you clean all your meat, so that there's no blood that remains in that meat. So whatever way you are going to use to clean off all the blood from the meat, do not eat it. And also in Leviticus we see chapter 3 verse 17, the Bible says, "It shall be a perpetual statute for your generations throughout all your dwellings, that you eat neither fat nor blood. Moreover, you shall eat no manner of blood." What will happen to those who disobey God and continue to eat blood and fats of animals? "Whatsoever soul it be that eateth any manner of blood, even that soul shall be cut off from his people." Everyone who dare disobey God in the issues of eating, that person was supposed to be cut off. So this issue of eating, many people, they take it so lightly. They take it as something that is trivial. Here the Bible is telling us that whosoever did not obey what Jehovah said was going to be cut off. That means he was going to be removed. He was going to be killed. Whenever you hear the Bible saying, whosoever does not obey, even on the day of atonement also, if someone does not obey to do and behave in the manner that God has said, you hear the Bible saying that person was supposed to be cut off. So that means the person was supposed to be killed or be chased away from the camp of Israel. So this is not a trivial matter, beloved. This is a serious matter. So they were not supposed to eat fats. They were not supposed to eat blood within the meat that they were eating. So now, fast forward, we move and we see the children of Israel have been in captivity for many years in Egypt, and God has sent them Moses to come and lead them out of captivity into the land of Canaan. And then on the way, God provided them manna, which is food for heaven, for angels, food that was brought by God himself from heaven. And they did not like it. They started complaining and crying. And then they said in Numbers 11 verse 4, "And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a lasting, and the children of Israel also wept again and said, Who shall give us flesh to eat?" So there were a mixed multitude that was among them, that came with them from Egypt. On that evening, when they were supposed to put blood on their doorpost so that the destroying angel will pass. So some of the Israelites also did the same thing and they were saved. And when the Israelites were leaving Egypt, they also followed them and went along with them. But they were not fully repentant. So these people became a problem on the way. So let me tell you that even amongst us as Adventists right now, we have a mixed multitude among us. There are people who have joined the church of God, but they are not fully repented. They have not fully given up the world and the lust of the world and the lust of the flesh. Those people are a problem because they influence the people of God to disobey God and to do that which is wrong in the sight of God. So it's happening in the church right now. That's why this topic is controversial. That's why this topic is something that people fight against. It's because of the mixed multitude that is within us and among us. Verse 5. Then they continue complaining and said, "We remember the fish which we did eat in Egypt freely." So now they are saying life was better in Egypt. But when they were in Egypt, they were crying day and night for deliverance from the Lord. Now they are saying that life was okay there. They were comfortable there. They were eating fish, they were eating meat, and they were eating cucumbers, melons, and leeks, and onions, and garlic. So life was okay for them in that land of captivity. So now they are blaming God, they are blaming Moses to say, "You have taken us away from a land which was good, where we could have access to all these things." And this thing displeased Moses so much. And he felt grieved that he even begged God that God should just kill him than living with this burden of leading this rebellious kind of people. So Now they continue complaining and say, but now our soul is dried always. There is nothing at all besides this manna before our eyes. So they went complaining and said all sorts of things against Moses. And Moses felt that this burden is too heavy upon him. He can't bear it anymore. He even wished for death. And he went to tell God about it. And God says, relax, I'll solve this one for you. And then God told him to bring 70 of the elders of Israel so that they can lighten the burden that was upon Moses. And God did also another solution for this problem again. It brings us to Numbers chapter 11 verse 18. And say unto the people, sanctify yourselves against tomorrow, and you shall eat flesh. For you have wept in the ears of the Lord, saying, who shall give us flesh to eat? For it was well with us in Egypt. Therefore the Lord will give you flesh, and you shall eat. You shall not eat 1 day, or 2 days, or 5 days, neither 10 days, nor 20 days, but even a whole month, until it come out at your nostrils, and it will be loathsome unto you. You shall hate it, this same meat that you are crying for. You shall hate it, you shall not eat it for a long time, because that you have despised the Lord, which is among you, and have wept before him, saying, why came we forth out of Egypt? Because of your complaining, and you are now blaming God to bring you out of Egypt, in which you were praying and crying day and night that you need deliverance from the Lord. Now you are saying that the Lord was not supposed to bring you out because you are starving. You have nothing to eat besides this man. Now God was so displeased because of this. God intends to punish them now. What follows after this? Verse 32. And the people stood up. Now God did a miracle, and he brought these birds called quails. And the people stood up all day and all that night. They were so lustful, these people. Day and night, collecting meat. So lustful. And they are also as lustful as the people of this day. You'll find someone eating a whole plate full of meat. People are so lustful. They want a lot of meat to themselves. This is exactly what was happening. And the history has got a fascinating way of repeating itself. What happened during the time of these people is going to happen again in the time of the last days of this earth's history. That is the reason why we are warned in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10 that we should not be lustful as they also lusted there, and they perished in numbers. Let's continue and see what happened. So they spent day and night, and all the next day, and they gathered the quails. He that gathered least gathered 10 homers. 10 homers, one person. And they spread them all abroad for themselves round about the camp. And while the flesh was yet between their teeth, ere it was chewed, the wrath of the Lord was kindled against the people, and the Lord smote the people with a very great plague. And he called the name of that place Kibro Thatava, because there they buried the people that lasted. So a lot of them were killed because God was not pleased because of their complaining and murmuring. And we find also in the book of Leviticus chapter 11, God told them that only the clean animals are the ones that you can eat. Do not touch those that are unclean. This is the chapter that many people would want to use and to cling to, so that they may justify themselves to continue eating meat even these last days. So we find that God, because he knows what is good for us, because he's the one who made us, he knows that if we eat and depend upon a diet which is full of meat and animal flesh and animal products, these are not very good for us, especially now, the people who are living in the end of this world's history. There are many diseases, there are many problems that are there that has to do with eating. That is the reason why God in his wisdom sent us a prophetess and says, go and tell my people that this is what they need to eat. So God knows what's best for us. So we can see even in the birth of Samson, Judges chapter 13 verse 12, we see here, and Manoah said, now let thy words come to pass. How shall we order the child, and how shall we do unto him? And the angel of the Lord said unto Manoah, and of all that I said unto thee, woman, let her beware. She may not eat of anything that cometh of the vine, neither let her drink wine nor strong drink, nor eat any unclean thing that I commanded her. Let her observe. So Samson was going to be a Nazarene, a man of God. So for her to fully do the task that God wanted him to do, the mother was not supposed to drink any strong drink, was not supposed to be drunk, was not supposed to take any alcoholic drinks, was not supposed to eat anything that is unclean, so that the young boy who was busy developing and growing in her womb should be able to fulfill the task that Jehovah wants him to fulfill. So, eating that which was unclean was going to make Samson fail to do what Jehovah intended him to do. So, whatever you eat, whatever your mother used to eat when you were pregnant, can have an impact on you. So, the issue of eating and drinking should never be trivialized. It's a serious matter, beloved. It's a serious matter. So, we should have the same attitude as Manoah. Manoah was asking the messenger, the angel of God, and said, how shall we treat this child? Please teach us. Many parents do not want to hear any counsel or any teaching concerning diet. Many people want to live anyhow, in the manner that pleases themselves. They don't care what Jehovah wants or how he wants us to live. Many people out there don't care. What was prophesied before Jesus' birth? Isaiah chapter 7 verse 14. Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a son. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Butter and honey shall he eat, that he may know how to refuse the evil and choose the good. So, could it be that whatever you eat can determine whether you are going to be able to resist evil and do that which is good? Could it be that your diet, whatever is found on your table, can determine if you are going to be able to overcome evil? Could it be that the Bible is telling us that for Jesus to be able to know how to refuse evil and choose the good, he had to eat a certain diet? That is clear there. That's what the Bible says. Many people think that whatever you eat, whatever you drink has nothing to do with your actions, with your behavior, with your lifestyle, with your mental or intellectual health. Many people think that whatever you eat or you drink has nothing to do with your intellectual health or your behavior. Many people think that you can eat whatever you think or feel like eating, and you can still perform in the optimum way as you are supposed to. Beloved, let no one fool you, beloved. We are what we eat. Our bodies, even the weight of our bodies, it's a result of what we eat. Even our mental capabilities are determined by what we eat. So let's not trivialize, and let's not put some sticks in our ears and reject the health message because we want to eat and be free to eat what pleases us, like what the Israelites were crying for. They were saying that in Israel, in Egypt, they were free to eat what they wanted to eat. So 1 Corinthians 9 verse 27 tells us, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, lest by any means, when I preach to others, I myself should be a castaway. Paul is telling us that he observes temperance. He keeps his body under subjection. He does not want to live a lustful life. Whatever his taste buds are saying, if his taste buds are saying that they need a little bit of beer or a little bit of pork, and he follows that, that is being lustful. You follow the will of the flesh, not the will of the spirit or the will of God. So he's saying, no, I do not want to obey the will of the flesh. I keep my body under subjection. It must be subdued. It must be under control, lest I be a castaway. Even after preaching to many people, preaching has nothing to do with, even if you preach and you are disobedient, if you are a preacher and you are lustful, you will still be lost. You can preach to many and others go to heaven and you are going to hell. So being a preacher or a religious leader or a pastor or an elder or a deacon or an AWA leader does not mean that you are already having a passport to enter heaven. If you reject the message of health message, you reject the light that God has given us in these last days, you can as well go to hell after working for God for many years in the church of God. Preaching and bringing many souls to God, you can still go to hell. That is what the Bible is saying here. You have to observe temperance. You have to control your body.